on the floor today. It's that kind of video. Gonna be doing something today that I have never done before, I've come to realize, which is probably why I put it off for so long. Gonna be making a rough first outline, I guess you could say. Now, I've written outlines before, obviously, talked about them on here, showed you my outlining process, but I didn't think about it until recently that I've never made like a first outline for a book. I've done outlines for papers and school stuff, but never for a full-length novel, and this is why. So, Thick as Blood, the original idea, like the seedling, the story that started it all, I wrote in like the 7th grade or something, and back then I didn't outline, I was just writing stories, me and my friends, we'd do it together, all that kind of stuff, and, I wasn't thinking about plot, I wasn't thinking about the future, like the next, whatever many pages. I was just writing, so I didn't write an outline. And between then and now, I've taken that story and just made newer drafts and revised and rewrote more times than I'm sure I could recall how many times like the story has changed. But the point is that I didn't sit down and write an actual outline until I already knew what was going to happen. For the most part, like I already had it laid out in my head. I had already been writing it for so long that, when I was writing, when I put together my first outline for it, it was like I was just taking the previous draft that I was working on and just, condensing it into an outline. So for my next writing project, it's something completely new that I've never written about before. Right now, all it is this Word document, 3 pages, basically beginning, middle, end, and then I have like little scenes afterwards that I want to add in. And honestly, I like working it out on my computer better. In my outlining video, that I worked on the computer and then I only made a physical copy when I wanted to see the thing as a whole. But for this, I think I want to see it all as a whole before I actually get down, because this rough outline, it's not going to be anything spectacular. Basically, I just want to get all my thoughts together and get a general idea of how the story is going to take place, because I have like my big events, like, thought about and stuff, but the stuff that goes in between is something that I haven't really taken the time to think through and flesh out those ideas and know what I need to add what I need to move or whatever. So basically, I just have a pen, some index cards, and some scissors. I'm going to chop these up probably into thirds and just kind of work out, just get my thoughts together coherently, because right now it's just a bunch of clumps of paragraphs with random stuff. I haven't looked at this actually in probably a couple weeks when I first put it all together, and like stuff I added towards the end is just like little bits that are like, oh, I want to add this in there, oh, this would be a cool scene, or oh, subplot alert, like this would be awesome, like stuff like that. So I haven't worked it all together chronologically yet, and I need to do that now if I'm going to start actually getting into it. So this is like a rough first outline. I don't even know if, I guess you could technically call it's going to be an actual outline, but it's mostly just like big events, like this happens and this will happen eventually and this is how it's going to end and this is something that needs to happen between these 2 scenes. Like I'm not putting anything near as much detail as I did in my first, or not my first outline, but the outline like I showed you. That was probably the last outline for Thick as Blood, the final version of the outline. Like nothing much has changed in the way of adding stuff or whatever after that outline. Whereas this is going to be like bare bones, the bare minimum of, I don't even know how many of these I'm going to end up using. I guess it just depends on as the thoughts come to me, or I don't know, I've never done it before like this. I've never done a first outline. I've always had something else to go off of, and yeah, I have like a big thought dump, but it's nothing compared to an actual story to reverse outline or whatever it is that they call it. So, it's gonna be okay. This is gonna be a learning experience. I can't imagine this video being very educational since I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna give it a shot and we'll see how it goes. So I've been at this for about an hour now, and holy crap. It doesn't look like much, but it's more than I thought I'd be able to pump out like the first time going through it. Let me show you real quick what I have. So this is it. I mean, it's only, I don't even know how many little chopped up index cards. But given the fact that I have never done this before, I am thoroughly impressed with myself. Once I started writing, it just kind of kept coming out, and I found myself not really writing the index cards in chronological order. At first I tried to do that just because that's how my thought dump, was. Like, I was pretty much in chronological order. But after a certain point, I was just writing events, just writing event after event after event, and then, like, I knew all the ones I wanted to happen, but I didn't know at what point in the story they needed to happen, and I think this is a really good start. It's definitely a project that I'm going to be continuously working on and adding to and moving around, but for now I'm actually really happy with it. I'm actually like decently surprised since I've never done this before, and it came out really well. I got down all of the events and sort of little things that I put in my thought dump, and as I was writing, I was leaving gaps here and there, and then I was like, oh, this subplot needs this, and this is perfect to put right here at this point. So it's coming together like a really not so complicated puzzle. I mean, it seems complicated when you're writing it down, but I know, like, once I actually get into the story, it's going to be a lot more cohesive, and I think it's going to blend really well together, and I'm super excited for that. So that's all I'm going to do at this point. I'll probably work on this later, but I just wanted to make this little video about it because, this is all about, like, my journey and stuff and doing new things that I've never done and the process by which I do them, and I think this was a win for me. I think for as far as first rough outlines go, putting them down on little pieces of paper and moving them around and being able to look at them as a whole is good. Once things get more detailed and complex, then I'll move to my computer and do my whole little outlining template thing that I showed in my outlining video, because that's good for more detailed things. But as far as first drafts and first ideas and stories go, the simpler the better until you get on, know what's gonna happen and get really, like, deep into the story. So that's all I got for you today. Thank you for watching, and I mean, this probably wasn't that educational, but it's part of the process, part of the mind, because I think writing things down and starting from scratch is really difficult, and it's easy to make it look easy, to see, oh, well, this is my entire storyboard, like, I just came up with it, out of my head, but it's a process, it takes steps, and it's little things coming together to create one big thing, and I think it's really unrealistic, and an idea that I myself thought, was daunting, was just coming up with everything all at once. And for me, because I had never started from scratch with an outline before, I've always had some sort of reference, it was kind of scary, to be like, okay, I have to start from scratch, and, half of me expected it to be perfect and to have, I needed to know exactly what was going to happen with everything before I started writing my outline, but that's not the case with this. It's little pieces, it's simplifying things, because you don't know everything yet. Like, I don't know everything yet. I don't know what's all going to happen in the story or how it's going to happen, but, there were things and components that I knew I wanted, and, starting with a little bit is better than not starting at all. So that's, I guess, why I made this video. Anyways, don't forget to check out my blog for pretty pictures, updates on Thick as Blood, and writing tips and advice. And good luck with your writing journey if you are making an outline or whatever you're doing, wherever you are. Good luck. My thoughts stop there, so have a nice day.